So I've chosen to go around something a bit more sturdy, which is at a nice angle from the redirect point that I wanted to use. So I've got the height to be able to access all these bits of deadwood and get right out over the roof and get those bits over there. That's what I was talking about. I've got the retrieval leg set up here. And this is actually what I wanted to talk about. As I've been informed that the way that you clip this beamer as a knot block for the alpine butterfly actually matters a little bit. Not that it matters heaps, it's just a best practice thing. So technically, you can actually undo this knot, even with a carabiner. Yeah. Whereas, clipped like that, you need to unclip that beaner to be able to untie this knot. How Not To does a good break test on this knot and shows that it's really quite bummer because of the bite that creates. It'll break in the knot before it'll actually pull that through there. So it's just a best practice thing. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't use the right tie-in points to start off with, whatever knot you tie is really not going to matter. So before and foremost, there's no real mathematical equation that I know of. Just selecting a high point, it just comes down to those years of experience. What you do trust, what you don't, what you've seen break. We rely on education of people that teach us how to climb and figure out what to trust. You sort of got to think about, is your weight going to break whatever thing that you turn into? Because let's be honest, it's not like we're rope access people. You know, we're not using triple backed up bunny ear knots to fucking tie into rated anchors that we know are never going to fail under our body weight. So it becomes a few more tricks and things to play around with when you're setting up an anchor in a tree. I don't know, these are just some thoughts I had. Because I never knew about this being our best practice thing. Most of the time when rock climbing and shit, this is used as a knot to equalise an anchor point. Probably rope access guys use it too. But when you're using it in this configuration, where you're using it to block the rope from coming through, and so hopefully when it comes to retrieving all this, this will pull through. I'm going to have like a little mini beaner on the end of the rope to make sure that it pulls through that, which again, I get nervous about whether or not it'll actually pull out sometimes. You'd hope it'd jiggle free. I'm going to have to cut these little dead stubs on the back side of it. To be fair, I probably haven't set this up right to be in a canter-base anchor, retrievable. But if you know a little bit more about that sort of stuff, feel free to know. Or if you know mathematical equation for selecting tie-in points. I find that shit real fascinating. My goal is with this channel is I'm going to buy a couple of cells, load cells. I'm going to start testing the sort of weights and the forces that we're actually putting onto particular points, particularly when you start using things like captain hook and you're going between two main high points at a massive span, and that rope angle becomes flatter and flatter as a way to transfer between trees. You start putting immense amounts of force onto these anchor points, which is not ideal. And so it'd just be cool to see what your average 75 kilogram climber, what sort of force you'd be putting on. So if that's something you'd like to see, drop a comment, let me know, and I'll save up some more money and I'll fucking buy a load cell. Mostly inspired by How Not To Highline. This channel's been really fucking awesome, I found, in being confident in the gear that we use, even though, you know, like, we spend good money on this shit. I personally don't like this thing as much as I like the OG. It's got a few service maintenance issues that I don't really like, but otherwise it climbs really well. And that's a bit of a tangent. Anyways, I only did this to sort of, if you didn't know about backing up that alpine butterfly, you do now. Oh, you probably saw me using the double leg hitch to get up here because I'm barefoot in my thongs. I couldn't be bothered. I don't really feel like putting boots on. I'm not working. I'm just fucking around and making a video. I don't actually have this tree in my front yard. It's my neighbour's tree. And there's my van next door. She was kind enough to let me come up here, and the kids are asleep, having a nap, and I'll do a bit of a deadwood after I finish making this video in return. But yeah, peace out, stay safe. Okay, so now, the cool thing is, right, I live in Australia, where is that road? It's really hard to see this fucking screen. Anyways, yeah, my highline's all the way back out there somewhere. I've come this way, deadwooded most of this, out here, getting right out to the tips, getting the little bits of dead out there, over the roof and everything. I'll drop down, do a bit more down here, but I'll climb back up and through there. But yeah, the cool thing is, here in Australia, we actually, all our trees have got really nice big spreading canopies. And especially if you want to start getting good at like pruning, SRT is really useful. Even if you're not using ascenders and stuff, it just is a really great way of moving around the tree and, you know, climbing the actual tree. Because that's probably the thing I enjoy the most about climbing here, is being able to climb trees and do it. Be barefoot if you want to. So many ways, so many things are worth getting good at in this industry, and Australia really is good for the fact that you can hone all the skills. Don't get me wrong, I love doing removals, but preservation and pruning is where it's at. It's a heaps more enjoyable, leisurely work. Not really, not when you got 6 to do, but yeah, I'm just chilling and fucking around today. And actually, just a little bit more on tie-in of choice being the soft 8. So 9 times out of 10, if I was just doing an isolated tie-in and I knew that I had a straight line to be able to pull my retrieval leg and climbing line down on, I wouldn't worry about the soft 8. I'd just clip a malleon straight to the alpine butterfly, bang, no need for doing the fucking backing up the alpine. But where that is really limited is if you say come in and drop down through a fork and you do your work and you finish at a point, which, because I will, I'll be finishing this tree, dropping down through a fork over here, doing those last bigger bits of there over the driveway, and I'll drop straight down on the driveway. Because the big thing is, especially if you're doing multiple climbs and multiple deadwoods in a day, you've got to worry about your fatigue management. So I'm not going to want to climb back up through, get back close to that high point and drop down so that my lines are parallel to retrieve that tie-in. And so using the soft 8 basically works a lot more like if you had done a base tie. And so the beauty of the base tie and the soft 8 is that after multiple redirects, just dropping through forks even works well with that retrievable redirect with the 2 clove hitches on a biot, because that'll still pull out reasonably easy. It's heaps easier, especially smooth bark trees where the rope just slides and glides over it nicely. But yeah, it becomes really important and real vital to make sure you're thinking and planning ahead on how you're going to exit the tree and how you're going to retrieve your rope once you've finished the climb, especially if you've got more than one to do.